The Chesapeake and Ohio Heritage Center, they have the GP7, Chesapeake and Ohio 5828. But the museum centerpiece is the 1948 Lima locomotive built Chesapeake and Ohio 614, a 484 Greenbrier locomotive, J3A class. The 614 was built in Lima, Ohio in June of 1948 and served on the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad and was retired from active service in 1952. Where most other railways had named their 484 locomotives Northerns, the Chesapeake and Ohio named theirs the Greenbrier after the Greenbrier Hotel. The 614 may have been retired in 1952, but the story doesn't end there. It has, in my opinion, one of the most interesting tales of an excursion career. From 1952 to 1976, this locomotive sat outside of a storage shed in Kentucky, and from my understanding, a few other C&O locomotives also were sitting there. In 1976, this locomotive was donated to the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. In 1979, the 614 was sold to Ross Rowland after the Reading T1 484 2101 was severely damaged in a roundhouse fire. The 614 was restored, and in 1980 it pulled its first excursion train for the Chessie System. From 1980 to 1981, the 614 pulled the Chessie System Safety Express, and then it went dormant for a few years. In 1985, the 614 was fired up again and became the 614T for a series of test runs for the ACE 3000 project, which was to design a modern-day steam locomotive. At that point, it was argued that the cost of coal was cheaper to use than the cost of oil due to the rising cost of oil. It actually had proved that the cost of coal at that time to run a locomotive over the series of tests in January was cheaper than burning oil. But then oil dropped and the 614 was once again went dormant. In 1996 to 1998, the 614 operated a series of excursions on the New Jersey Transit System. And after 1998, the locomotive once again went dormant. It was in Port Clinton, PA for a while. It was also at the Roanoke Museum of Transportation in Roanoke, Virginia. At one point in the past 7 years, the 614 there was talks of it actually operating the Greenbrier Express, but unfortunately they never came to fruition. And now the 614 sits here in Clifton Forge at the C&O Heritage Center. It sits right next to the CSX tracks. Will 614 ever run again? It seems hopeful, as Ross Rowland still does technically own the locomotive, and he wants to get it running again from what it sounds like on the website. And well, like 611, when it does return to steam, it'll be a grand return. Anyhow, hope you enjoy the rest of the video from the C&O Heritage Center. And there it is, 614's auxiliary tender when it was in excursion service. The C&O 1607, an Allegheny 26666. I can only imagine just how loud and how powerful one must be if it was running. I know two are preserved. One's in the Henry Ford Museum in Michigan, 1601, and one is in the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Museum in Baltimore, Maryland.